Morning. Welcome to SPC's Outdoor Transportation Forum. I'm Leanne Shady, Transportation Planner for SPC. I'll be facilitating today's meeting, which is being recorded. An agenda was shared in advance, but prior to starting, I'd like to first introduce our new Executive Director, Rich Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Leanne, and thank you all for joining us today. This is an exciting group that works together on so many good things coming up. And I know, Leanne, anxious to have everybody in person. There's as many of you in person as we can at the next meeting. This will be a virtual, except for the staff here in our fairly new offices here in the Strip SPC. So thanks for joining us. I know we have some exciting things coming up, particularly I think Chris Ziegler would be on here. So for April 1st, a very exciting day for our friends at Armstrong County as we open up is it the Freeport to Ford City? I don't know if it has a name, Chris, if you're on, if this does have a name, this 10-mile or so trail. We're going to have the secretary come in town, Secretary Dunn. That'll be an exciting time. And then I know Leanne leads a group every the fifth Saturday every month starting in April called the Goat Trail. I don't know what the Goat Ride. Right. First one being the Panhandle Trail. We're going to meet up at 10 o'clock at the McDonald Trail Station. Ride, I guess, about 10 miles or so, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But anything we can do with active transportation to improve this region's connectivity, and you're going to hear a lot of it today. And I think the working together will really enhance all that. So I see Dawn has come in, our director, our fearless leader, and then all the team. I'm sure Leanne will introduce everybody as you go around. Thanks, Leanne.
Right. Thank you so much, Rich. Yes, as Rich mentioned, today's forum was promoted as virtual, but I invited staff and we're doing in-person practice with the virtual option. And we will just go around and do a quick intro of staff. We'll start with you, Chris.
Chris Jaros, data analyst.
Okay.
Alex, IT here at SPC.
And Leanne Cheney, Apta Transportation.
Lily Gabreski, Manager, Sponsor Programs.
Good morning, everybody. Dom DeAndrea, Director of Transportation Planning.
Tom Clavan, Manager, Transit Planning.
Julia Ferry, TDM Coordinator.
Anthony Dickton, TDM Manager.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that. So without any further...
I'm Greene County Planning.
All right. We'll go ahead and skip the virtual introductions and we'll move on to Chris Jaros presenting on our regional pedestrian network mapping.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone see the screen here of our SPC Regional Pedestrian Network currently focused on the point in downtown?
I did see a blank screen.
Chris, it's just a blank screen.
It's a blank screen.
Perfect. Alex?
Well, now. There, it's good now.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off with just saying just a little bit about this pedestrian network that I've been working on since, I would say early 2020-ish. I will expand it out here. Hopefully the lag is not terrible on the other end of this. But basically what I've done here is created a sidewalk network of sidewalks, crosswalks, steps, and then a little bit of these connecting trails for the entire 10 counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. This is a free and available download via our hub site, which I will get to here in a little bit. But I also wanted to kind of expand on just a little bit of the other projects that I do with this sidewalk. So I am going to kind of show you through two separate active transportation interactive maps for these walk work grants that I've done, one for Greensburg and one actually for South Fayette that I just sent them today. So I'll switch over to Greensburg first and kind of, there's just a little how-to on here. And then once this loads, so basically how this is set up here is there is the sidewalk network in Greensburg. I'll zoom in just a little bit closer to kind of give you a better feel of what you're kind of looking at there. So Center City, Greensburg, if you will. And then this map includes a couple of our, a little bit of our active transportation facilities. So you're seeing bike racks, and Greensburg could ask for bus stops on there as well. But you can see down here, there's the trail access.
We want to be muted.
And basically what this map was used for, and same with South Fayette, is
Stop
to
changing my
have
audio.
public.
That one?
Was that again? I'm sorry. Okay, I'll continue. So basically what this map and the South Fayette map are set up for is for the public to put a pin on this map and comment on the active transportation network in the certain municipality, in this case, Greensburg, to say, hey, we'd like to see, better lighting along this stretch of sidewalk, or, we would like sidewalk in this stretch of sidewalk, or this, this part of Greensburg. Additionally, the sidewalk network allows us to do a few other things. So what I did for Greensburg, because if you have been to Greensburg, you know that the topography of that is, there's a little bit of a tillage there. So what I've done here is taken our sidewalk network and actually displayed what the slope of those sidewalks look like, or what they are. So once you click on this, it'll tell you kind of that the approximate slope of Ridge Street is 14%. So pretty steep street there. And why I did this for Greensburg, again, because of the topography of the area, but also, a lot of people are concerned about, how can you better get to the trail, the 5-star trail that runs through there, and, kind of letting people see that there is a hill there. It's not all flat, or, there might be certain different grades to that. So building out from the sidewalk network, I was able to create that. I'm going to move to South Fayette to show you another thing, and working me here, because this app has just been updated very quickly here, or this week. So it's kind of a change for me. But what I did also with the sidewalk network was created this sidewalk connection. So I'll zoom in again to kind of give you a little bit better idea of this, but you'll notice that these sidewalks all are colored differently. What that is telling you is that each of those colors is a sidewalk network that is connected together. So whenever the color changes, that means there is a disconnect between those groupings of sidewalks. So when we're looking at South Fayette Township, a lot of subdivisions out there. Maybe all those subdivisions have their own sidewalks, but is it possible currently to get from one to another, or to access a trail or a park? And as you can see here, some of those do have that accessibility and some do not. So this is more of a just a way to show the township folk that, hey, there's maybe some connections that can possibly be made down there in South Fayette. So lastly, I will do our standard SPC commercial here for our Open Data Hub site. That is a picture of our new building there. If you have not seen it yet, we are on the bottom floor there, but I'll post the link in the chat as well. So anything that FPC data-wise creates is available here for download, free. So like I said, that placed in the chat. And any questions, let me know. I can get back to you. Or are we going to do questions later?
Do questions now?
Okay. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead.
Hi, this is Mavis from OTMA.
Hi, Mavis.
Does the sidewalk inventory also indicate where we would have ADA ramps?
I do have a curb ramp layer. It is not, I'm not putting the ADA label on that because of legal reasons. There are certain places that people may say they are or not. So at the MPO level here, we're just leaving it at curb ramp. I can make that available. It's kind of in a beta phase right now where I'm still building that out for the rest of the region. I do have Pittsburgh and all of our county seats done, and Allegheny County as well. But yeah, I can pass that along to everybody, make that public.
Great, thank you.
Any others?
Yeah, this is Kurt Brenauer from SBC. I would just ask the participants if to play around with the application on the hub site here. You can launch the app, zoom into your neighborhood, what have you, your project area. If you see that there are recent sidewalks that maybe Chris does not have, or some that are missing or anything like that, there's options to send an email off that page there, but we would appreciate getting that information so we can have it part of the regional network.
Good morning to Chris. This is Seth Davis from PRT. Is there any way, this I think calls into some of the sidewalks just that they exist, any way that, we can pull in or condition of some of these sidewalks? Because it is great when they exist, but often in some of our communities that are a little older, they're in a disarray in terms of quality and current condition. Is there any way to tag that or add a tag or ability to kind of report condition back through the system?
We can do that. I did not personally add any condition to it. I mean, at our MPO level here, we're owners of no infrastructure. So again, kind of, maybe legally, I didn't want to say, oh, you have a good, full, fair or poor sidewalk in front of your house. I would leave that up to the end user, anybody that had downloads to use it for their own purposes.
In order to get that, not to be blocking your screen.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, I can.
I'm sorry.
There are also a couple of questions in the chat. This is Sam Pearson from WalkWorks, and I have to say that we love this system. We see so much potential in it and are really thrilled to be able to get our communities to work with SPC to sort of expand their options.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, everybody, I see I'm looking at the comments now. Can you drop the link in the chat? I will do that. John, I will also do that here in a second.
I did put the link in the chat.
Okay. Yes, there. Thank you.
I also wanted to say there, in response to the question about whether people can add content about condition, I mean, obviously Chris knows better, but we have worked with a couple of communities right shortly after the site first went live, and they had tried to use this information to then build additional sidewalk inventories that started to get at condition. I would say it's still evolving how that then talks back and forth. But we worked with Forest Hills and Verona on that in particular in this area.
Yeah, that's about right. From what I recall as well. Yeah, just kind of like from our end, I'm not the one that's going to be putting a condition rating on any sidewalk that I, digitize here. So I will leave that up to the end users, and we can, if it is, if somebody does do that for a municipality, it can be reported back to me, whether that is, back in shapefile form, and I can then add it to it. I can work on some interactive, ways to kind of just have almost like a crowdsource reporting on it, and we can kind of build upon it that way. That might be a little easier to spitball into. That might be a better way to go about doing that. Just have everybody, kind of throw their comments on there, and I just kind of pick them off as I see them. So, thank you.
Hey, Chris, this is Mavis again with OTMA.
Hi, Mavis.
Just a question for you. So many years ago, probably about 4, maybe 5 years ago, the city had been working with an agency called Pathview.
Yeah.
They from Hurl. Great. So is any of that data part of this? Because I know that we would work with Eric on a number of issues regarding ADA, sidewalk condition, sidewalk width, to ensure that we had addressed issues with ADA in Oakland. So is any of that data incorporated in the inventory you have? I know that a number of efforts were made to capture sidewalk inventory, I think downtown, certainly within the Golden Triangle.
Yes, nothing that he's done has come back to me. What I did for him was whenever I created that network, he essentially used that to help his robots, know what is currently there. So in terms of all of that data he's collected, actually, he and I had a conversation back in October, I believe it was, and, just kind of catching up a little bit. And, he had told me what he had expanded on, but I have not gotten any data back from him in regards to what he's actually collected, out in Oakland and downtown.
Okay, thank you.
This is Randy Waltemeyer with Bowman Consulting. We've had good luck using Esri's field maps to do sidewalk condition. So we could we were thinking about submitting that as a session for the upcoming Active Transportation Summit. So we'd be happy to elaborate further on using field maps on the condition side, but understanding it's better deployed at a community level, challenging more at an MPO level.
Yes, I use field maps, St. Collector. Yes, I do use field maps to go out and actually collect, new subdivisions, everything. I was out in South Fayette on Friday, just confirming a few of the newer developments there. So I'm aware of it. I use it quite often, but again, not at a condition level, if you will.
Understood.
Any other questions before I turn it back to Leanne?
I want to respond to a couple of the questions in the chat. If I don't think you would address the questions from Pogo, and so that was asking about using the survey option. So the reason we set this up for the Greensburg and South Fayette maps up is in order to collect input. So yes, that will happen, but actually neither one is quite live. I think they're going live in next couple of days. So maybe a few responses have gone in yet to the associated survey. But that's only from the steering committee members so far.
Okay, yeah. And can organizations upload their public data to the SPCGIS Open Data Platform? No, not currently. I think the kind of way we can get around that, Sarah, is I would have to put you into a group on our ARC Online, and then you would be able to feed data to us as a Esri user. I don't think it would be a open to the public type upload, if you will. Let's see. Link in the chat. Okay. Any other questions on the forum that I missed here? I think I got through everyone's questions, but if not, again, we'll put the links in there for everybody here in the next couple of minutes, and then that's it for me.
All right. Thanks so much for presenting on it, Chris, and more importantly, for doing that work. And it is very helpful for municipalities throughout the region. So we'll move along on the agenda. And the next presentation, we'll be hearing from Dan Hornak with Friends of Norwood Trails, or FUND. And then we'll see if we can get this set up, Dan, where we stop sharing and you start sharing.
Okay, sounds good.
And I'm leaning on Alex with our IT team here to do this.
Yeah.
I think I can share. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Hear the screen. See the slides.
Hear me? Listen. Hear me and see my screen. Right. All right. Thank you. So thank you, Leanne. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. And my name's Dan Hornak. I'm the president of Friends of Norwood Trails, and just plan on telling you a little bit about our group and what we're trying to do in the Norwood area. Okay. One second here. Okay. So about us and our mission, we're a local volunteer organization committed to establishing a network of safe and accessible bicycling and walking opportunities in the Norwood area. And we've been around, we started working in late 2022, officially established in 2023. So we're a pretty young group. Just a little about Norwin, so you understand kind of the context. Norwin is a school district, not a place. comprised of North Huntington Township, Irwin Borough, and North Irwin Borough. You can see we're just over the Allegheny County line in the Westmoreland County, in between Pittsburgh and Greensburg. 36,000 people, bedroom community, very car dependent. So kind of like a traditional suburb. Great place to live. It's near regional trails. So Great Allegheny Passage passes on the south, and Westmoreland Heritage Trail passes on the north. Okay, so we're kind of in the middle of everything there. Kind of zooming in a little bit, we have great local parks. A lot of beautiful parks. But one issue we have is 67% of Norwin kids live more than a 10-minute walk from a local park. Okay, and even those that do live within the 10 minutes, it's not necessarily a safe walk, right? It feels a little dangerous. It's really car-dependent community. So this is one of the things that drives me personally. This is something that we're trying to solve for. Okay, so our vision is that we want to connect our neighborhoods to local parks, businesses, schools, and the other recreational trails with a fun and functional trail network. And so then our role in doing this is our group, we intend to generate collaboration among the citizens, trail users, businesses, community leaders, elected officials. Harry Falk is the township manager of North Huntington, and Sherry Martinez, borough manager, Irwin borough manager. They've been super supportive. And we've kind of been working with them to make this collaboration happen. Okay, so fun and functional are kind of two key pieces to our work. Fun, all active transportation is fun in my view, but we're working a lot on recreational trails. There's a big mountain biking community in our area, and really a lot of nature lovers. So we're working to expand mountain biking and hiking trails in our local parks. And also active transportation, to introduce safe and practical active transportation options where people can get around, get to those businesses, get to those parks, and move around the township a little more easy.
$6,500.
Okay. So kind of the first step in our process as a group is we looked around the township, identified possible trail sites, key destinations, parts where we could expand our trails.
Somebody's
and
around
other people and really sought advice.
I think somebody's on mode.
Thank you. So based on everyone's advice, and kind of just looking at the conditions on the ground, we decided to take small steps. We're pursuing the most promising trail sites, which are really in and around downtown Irwin. There in the middle of our screen, the green arrows. Those trails, they comprise of about 5 to 6 miles of local trail. Okay, so we just want to establish this network and figure out ways to get people to those trails easier and connect those deeper into the neighborhoods. Downtown Irwin's like the heart of our communities, where a lot of the small businesses live. And then we chose one park to expand trails and build community. So we worked with Dan Miller, who's the director of Parks and Recreation in North Huntington Township. Huge supporter, great guy. And we've been working in Braddock's Trail Park to expand the trails in that park with our beloved local parks. Okay, so the next steps for us is, we're working to locate funding for our trail feasibility studies. So grants, donations, and local funding. We're working to build capacity for the Norwin Active Transportation Plan. We'd hope to do it in 2024, but we're probably not going to do it until 2025. We're actively working with the township and borough managers who are fully on board. So that's really exciting. So that's something that's going to be coming soon to us. But in the meantime, continue community engagement with trail building and parks and events, and just kind of, making small improvements, keeping the interest high, kind of showing people what's possible and making it a bit better. Okay, so here's our contact info. If you're interested in learning more, norwintrails.org. We send out a email update, or Friends of Norwin Trails on Facebook. You can always reach out to our email address also. So thank you. Any questions?
Thanks so much for that presentation, Dan, sharing on the efforts going on in the Norwin area, which is not a place. Any questions for Dan? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next presentation. which is, we'll hear from Terry Gladys with Harshman, who is conducting a feasibility study for Green River Trail extension. And you should be able to share your screen, Terry.
Did it work?
Needs to go on view. Change the view.
It's in the slideshow view, right? If you could do, I mean, it's not in a slideshow view, right? But if you could put it there, we go. I'll look straight.
All right. So thank you so much for having us today. And I apologize for my technical difficulties there. But as Leanne mentioned, my name is Terry Gladys, and I'm from Harshman CE Group. I earned my Master's of Public Administration from University of Pittsburgh, and I'm seeking my AICP. And I'll be speaking today, as mentioned, on a project we are working on for Greene County, which is their Green River Trail Extension Feasibility Study. So real quick, just a little about Harshman CE Group. We are a full-service consulting firm based out of Washington, PA. We primarily serve clients in Washington, Allegheny, Beaver, Butler, Fayette, and Greene counties. So right in the area of SPC here. We also have some statewide clients, such as the Pennsylvania Organization for Watersheds and PEC, the PA Environmental Council. We offer a range of professional services to our private and public clients, including engineering, surveying, roadway management, sanitary and storm sewer design, a bunch of other stuff, and of course, planning and civil engineering as it pertains to trail and water trail plans and projects. As I'm sure you guys are all aware of the area, Greene County is down there in the orange. Our client for this project is Greene County itself. So they were awarded a community recreation and conservation planning grant through DCNR's C2P2 program, which allowed for a budget of $133,000 for this feasibility study project. The project was bid and awarded to Harshman CE Group, and the scope of the project was to, as I'm sure you can imagine, complete a feasibility study for the trail extension of the existing Green River Trail to the southward direction per DCNR guidelines. As I'm sure you're all very well aware, this per DCNR guidelines includes a physical inventory and assessment, as well as an exhaustive public participation project. So the goal today is just to hopefully tell you a little bit more about where we are on this project, what we're looking at, where we're looking at this trail to be, and, some steps forward. We are still in the planning, we're still working through this process. It's not completed yet, so there's still a lot of unknowns, but, we're working towards our end goal here. So at Harshman, we decided we need to call in for some backup for this project. So we engaged 2 subcontractors. As a planner, I'm working internally with our civil engineering team, but we're also working with Dennis Martinack of Planning and Consulting. He's the principal of Martinack Planning and Consulting, which is a multidisciplinary firm located in the Mid-Mon Valley. He has over 40 years of experience in the community, recreation, and economic planning for numerous regions, municipalities, and organizations. Specific to this project, he has led or been a part of many trail feasibility studies, public engagement, and outreach activities. We're also working with Tom Rebar from ECS Mid-Atlantic as our environmental senior project engineer. He has more than 29 years of experience and an extensive background in phase 1 and phase 2 site assessments, rail and water trail development, and many other aspects of environmental engineering. So that's who we have working on this project. But now what you really care about is the existing and the proposed trail. So if you're unaware, the existing Green River Trail is just over 7 miles of trail owned and operated by Greene County. The original portion of the trail was open for public use with the primary purpose of nature-based recreation in 2001. The trail itself is located about 60 miles south of Pittsburgh and parallels the Monongahela River, following mostly an old rail bed. It's a mostly smooth trail surface, which is enclosed by rustic wood fencing for most of the route. Here I have pictured the existing trail running parallel to the river, and we were tasked with investigating a southern expansion of the trail with the goal of reaching areas of connectivity, such as Masontown, Greensboro, or even as I'll talk about Point Marion. So we've got two primary areas of study, both looking southward. And I'll explain a little bit later why we ended up dividing it in this way. The primary extension area would be to bring the end of the trail, which currently ends at Jessup Boat Club, if you're familiar, down to Route 21, which connects over to Masontown on the Fayette County side. The trail to Masontown would double the length of the existing trail, adding an additional 7 miles. And the secondary extension from Masontown to Greensboro, which is that second panel there, would add an additional 5 miles of trail. Clearly, connectivity is incredibly important when we're talking about trails and securing trail funding for construction. So that's why Masontown and Greensboro were chosen as possible stopping points for this trail. Masontown is located just on the other side of the river from the trail in Fayette County. And Masontown itself is a population center, connects to the Browns Run Trail. The goal originally was to be able to use the Route 21 bridge as a connection to that population center over the river and the Browns Run Trail. The Browns Run Trail, while it's awesome in its own existence, also has a planned connection to the Sheepskin Trail. So that would really take this trail and tie it into a multi-state trail network. And then the next goal for connectivity, as I showed you in the second portion of the trail, would be to make it down to Greensboro. Greensboro is just an adorable little community and has put so much effort into multimodal transportation networks, especially considering their small size. They have a trail network through their town, which connects to the Warrior Trail and on-street bike routes to the west. And then there was a separate feasibility study completed several years ago by the town to connect Greensboro to trails down to Point Marion. And Point Marion has already constructed bridges with multimodal transportation in mind, and this would allow easy and direct connection to that aforementioned Sheepskin Trail. So getting to either the Browns Run or the Sheepskin Trail directly or indirectly was obviously of utmost importance for us in this study. And we'll really take this existing 7-mile trail, which is sort of isolated by itself in Greene County, only connecting to an on-street bike route loop, and connect it with a multi-state trail system. So talking a little bit about what the work we've completed to date, I've got some pictures up here of the trail and some views of the trail showing you, this is what gets me excited to see these beautiful views and also the wonderful existing rail area that we have to work with. So all the field work and physical inventory and assessment have pretty much been completed. We're really excited about the ease of which we believe this primary portion, that first section of trail, will be able to be implemented due to the condition of an abandoned rail bed and various abandoned logging roads thereafter. As you can see in the picture to the left, that almost, at least to me, looks like a trail that could be in use. I've been on trails rougher than that are maintained. While we were out there, we joked around that a lot of this trail really just needs 2 guys and a shovel, and we can plop an open sign up there. So we were really excited about the condition there. There's plenty of existing drainage features even that are left from when it was that rail bed that really just need cleaned out, and very little work physically really needs to be done for most of this trail, which is really exciting. So then obviously we moved on to the public participation portion of this project. We have begun this process, but it's not complete. To date, we've completed the first meeting with our county commissioners, who are obviously really excited about the project. We've completed 1 steering committee meeting and 1 parcel owners meeting. We have additional meetings scheduled for the coming weeks. To speak just a little bit more about the public participation process, specifically the parcel owners meeting that we have had and will continue to have. Another thing we were really relieved about in that first section of the trail is that we really only have about 10 property owners to deal with through the entire 7-mile extension, and about half of them are larger companies such as Clean Streams, organizations like that, which we're hoping it could go either way, but we're hoping they'd be willing to work with us for the rail extension. So our outcomes of this project so far, we have found that you've probably figured I alluded to that first section, our primary section from Jessup Boat Club down to Masontown, Route 21 is really where we will be focusing on. Unfortunately, south of that is just not feasible at this time, according to the physical inventory and assessment. This is due to several factors. First, that little stretch after Route 21 is not so bad. Nice shelf for a trail to go on, even a nice area for a possible camping site just south of 21. But shortly thereafter, we hit very, very steep terrain around the bend of that river, which, makes sense due to the topography there. And so that steep terrain is really worrisome because we have active springs coming out of the hillside. There's evidence of pretty active slides in the area, and we would be really concerned about cutting into that slope to put a trail bank in. Next, we would hit restrictive access due to old mining operations and slag piles, some utility companies that really are probably not going to be too excited about giving trail access. And then right after that, we hit an active port, which the active trail line uses to transport coal across the river. This area is still very active, very in use daily, and they take up basically all of the riverbank. So again, I don't know how likely they would be to have us run a trail directly through their operation. Just to add a little bit more, we then hit the Army Corps Lock and Dam. Again, they are a little restrictive with who has access to that. And along the way, there's also several communities such as Glassworks and Alicia on the water. And a lot of those communities, the homes there actually utilize their yards right up to the river. We could circumvent this by using the township roads as, an on-road trail system because they're very low volume and low speed. But considering all of the other issues, we've decided to really focus our study area at this point from Jessup Boat Club down to 21 in Masontown. So public feedback so far has been mixed. Of course, our meeting with the county commissioners have gone overwhelmingly well. They're so excited about the project and the possibility of this coming to fruition. Cumberland and Monongahela townships, which the trail would run through, are very excited, on board, and engaged in this process. They're on the steering committee. And there are several property owners that are very excited as well. The Jessup Boat Club, for one, they have some general concerns regarding liability issues, but overall very excited to have more traffic in their area, which would help their club out a lot. And of course, as expected, some property owners in our first meeting that we hosted have stated they were very against the idea. Of course, this isn't unexpected. They don't want more people in the area. They don't want Pittsburgh people down in the rural area, have concerns about trespassing liability, pretty much the basic stuff. So, we're continuing to work with them and have conversations with them, address some of their concerns. And, this is all part of the process and, of course, not unexpected. One thing I wanted to bring up is sort of at least exciting to me outcome of this project so far is the possibility of a PennDOT turnback program for the purpose of a trail. So as we were walking this route, we found what would make a very logical trail alignment to actually be an existing PennDOT road that is still a registered PennDOT road, but for all intents and purposes is pretty abandoned. As you'll see the picture on the left, that's the PennDOT road currently right now. It's, pretty much a dirt road, brick road, not very maintained. And the end of the road, it's a dead end, that sign in the woods. So there's two examples of these roads along the trail. Again, the trail alignment would make sense there. That's State Route 1004 and 1006. We've come to learn that both of these roads dead end in the river, are mostly abandoned, but still active PennDOT roads. This unique scenario because both of these roads are old ferry roads, which basically they dead end in the river. So a lot of this would, take some very logistical planning, but we think that after our conversations with PennDOT, that the possibility of taking these PennDOT roads, turning them back, using their turn back program, but for the purpose of a trail. So what this might look like is PennDOT taking these sections, turning them back to Cumberland Township, through their typical turnback program, but then having a agreement between Cumberland Township and Greene County, which outlines that the county will maintain these roads for the purpose of a trail. So this is something unique we ran into in our conversations with PennDOT. They, didn't have a lot of experience with this. This might be the first time this has been done in this fashion. So that's something exciting we have to look forward to and potentially paving the way for this sort of scenario. And of course, it's a unique instance that we have two roads that are old ferry roads, but an interesting case nonetheless, I think. So finally, we've got our next steps. As I mentioned, we're continuing this public participation process. The first property after Jessup Boat Club was allegedly just switched hands last week. So we're eager to get in contact with that new owner. We'll be continuing the public meetings, additional parcel owner meetings, and reaching out individually to those we haven't heard from yet. Then, of course, we'll have some public surveys that will be going out and public meetings in the weeks to come. Our engineers are currently working on cost estimates, coming up with average cost per mile for development, costs needed for structures. For example, right after Jessup Boat Club, we'll need quite a substantial structure to cross Muddy Creek. So coming up with cost estimates for that would still allow emergency response access to areas of that trail. And of course, we're really going to need to keep in mind a lot of geotechnical work that would need to be done during the construction phase of this process, mostly because the terrain is good, but if we're cutting into the cliffside, for lack of a better term at all, we need to be really careful because it is a slide prone area, and just keeping those things in mind. So we're also currently considering some alternate routes. After speaking with PennDOT, they're not very happy with the idea of using Route 21 as a pedestrian path due to the speed and volume of traffic. So we're investigating some alternative routes to either cross the river slightly further up, which would be, obviously take a brand new structure to cross the Monongahela River for trail purposes. This would allow us to tie more directly into the existing Browns Run Trail. Some other options might include a cantilever situation off of that existing PennDOT bridge, but we'll see how they feel about that when we get to that conversation. But also we're looking at some alternate routes completely circumventing some of the issues that we ran into just south of Route 21. So this won't be as thorough of an investigation as we're completing from Jessup down to Route 21. But we do plan to see if there are options on or off road for trail corridors. If we leave that river, loop more westward, and if we can connect back to Greensboro, to Point Marion, and connect there. We're also planning on working pretty closely with Fayette County Trail Coordinator who, to investigate what opportunities would look like on the Fayette County side to continue a river trail and connect into that regional trail network. So thank you so much again for having us today. My contact information and the contact information of my trail team is here on the screen. We're happy to share this presentation so you have our contact information. And we'd love to answer any questions you may have. On the call now, we have Dennis Martinak, we have Tom, and we also have representatives from Greene County. If you have any questions for myself, any of them, or want to hear about the county's experience through this process, happy to open it up now.
Are you aware that there are several trails in Europe that use john boats, basically big john boats, to cross trails where they have this problem? They've got a cliff on one side.
You have to speak up. We can catch that.
Are you aware that in Europe there are several trails that use john boats, big, large john boats, basically, to cross rivers where there are cliff sides? As the rivers wander back and forth. So you go to the ferry, you wave a flag, jump could you crossed, can reach you across the river, and goes down to the other side of the river, on the flat side. Just something to consider.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting, as we're talking about bridges and crossing the Monongahela River, that's something we're like, hey, we could always reinstate those ferry situations there, but, not too sure of the feasibility of that in this area particularly, but definitely an interesting idea.
It's done. It's not something that's unusual to do. So yeah.
I see a question, how we address the local concerns about increased visitation by outsiders. So that's definitely going to be a ongoing conversation with the parcel owners. Hopefully we can help them to understand, the benefits to their area of having, trail users. Ongoing conversations is really going to be where we're at there. And also hopefully using the existing trail as an example of the benefits that property owners have understood. From what the county says, they really haven't had too many existing property owners issues from the northern piece of the trail. So hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to circumvent those issues. Introduce local parcel owners to parcel owners along the trails where owners have come around. Exactly. Hopefully we can make those connections. What are the prospects of extending the Green River Trail to the north and reestablish the former connection to the trailhead parking near the mouth of 10 Mile? So we did talk about potentially looking north and investigating that. At this point, that's just out of the scope of our study. Maybe Greene County can talk about that. Kyle, do you have any input on?
From what I know, we have had some talks about it, but there's no movement on that in the future. It's just going to stay closed for now based off the issues that we've conducted with it. But yeah, thank you, Harry.
What are the benefits to the individual parcel owners? So, obviously there would be some sort of purchase agreement ideally between the county and the owners up front. Additionally, we're hoping that in this area, and I should have included more pictures, but I didn't. It's truthfully like a cliffside. Like when we were walking the trail corridor, the proposed rail bed, it's not like we're in people's backyards. Most of these people really probably don't have river access from their property there just because of the topography of the area. So this actually might increase the accessibility to even these parcel owners to the river. So we're hoping that they'll be able to see that. And then obviously, of course, there's plenty of studies on, trails increasing, economic activity in the area, increasing property value, sorts of things like that. A little more abstract to explain to our parcel owners, but, as mentioned, we're hoping that connecting them with parcel owners that have come around might help them understand on a practical platform, why this might not be so bad. Help. Any other questions in the chat or otherwise? Help myself, the team, or the county? Help. All right, I guess I'll throw it back to Leanne and SPC then. Help. SPC, I think you're muted, by the way. Help. Help.
It looks like they're having some technical difficulties.
I can just keep talking and make some stuff up if you want nothing.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Hey.
Who's next on the agenda? Who's next on the agenda? What?
I think that that I'm up next. If you want me to just jump right into it, I'm happy to do that. I see Julia with the thumbs up. All right. Let me get my screen shared here. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Kevin Brown. I'm a principal planner with the City of Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. And I'm going to be talking about the Three Rivers Heritage Trail maintenance and management plan that the city and its trail partners have undertaken, just begun to work on as of this winter. Sorry, give me 1 second to make sure that my screen share here is ready. All right, give me a thumbs up if y'all can see my screen.
Got it. Good.
All right, looking good. So again, yep, my name is Kevin Brown. I'm a principal planner with DOMI, and I'm here to give you guys a sort of a high-level overview of the plan, the Three Rivers Heritage Trail Maintenance and Management Plan that we are undertaking now with our trail partners, some of who are on this call, as well as a consultant group and a larger group of stakeholders, but we'll go over all that pretty soon. So this historically, the city of Pittsburgh and the region in general's riverfront has been used for the movement of raw materials and products into and out of factories and other industrial uses along the riverfront. And not long ago, just a few decades ago, this picture is obviously from much longer ago. The riverfront was a forgotten area, an industrial wasteland, a place that no one really wanted to be and was not used as a resource and used for recreation the way it is today. And it's not that long ago that was still the case, just several decades. But now the revitalization of Pittsburgh's riverfront has been a big element of turning to face the river and embracing it as a resource. And that in turn has also been a huge part of the revitalization of the city of Pittsburgh in general. And so it's with that in mind that we are trying to make sure that we take care of that once forgotten land that has become a treasured resource for so many Pittsburghers and others around the region. And so the development of this plan is in part to make sure that we manage and maintain that resource that we've worked so hard to develop. And so many people on this call, as well as others who aren't on this call, have worked really tirelessly to maintain and to develop for the people of this area. So we're trying to make sure that we keep everything in working order so that it continues to be a great resource for everyone. But this is a very complex project and involves a wide variety of different property owners and stakeholders. Additionally, the trail is a natural asset. The trail network along the riverfront is a natural asset. So we need to keep in mind how we manage the natural environment. But it's also a key element of the transportation network, the active transportation network within the city, and is used by many commuters every day. And additionally, it is a regional destination that is used for recreation as well as for sightseeing for people from not just the city of Pittsburgh, but also the larger region in general. And so some of the key challenges with this plan are addressing, how the trail is managed, because it needs to be a collaborative effort across a variety of different key stakeholders, not just the city, but, friends of the riverfront, river life, property owners,
various utilities, that sort of thing. And there is, as it exists now, limited data regarding both the natural and built conditions along the trails, and the state of those, whether or not they exist, gaps in the network. And currently, there is no unified plan to ensure that the trails are managed effectively and that improvements and maintenance are being done, and who in general is responsible for those things. So this plan sets out to develop an outline as well as like a responsibility matrix for who is in charge of doing those and where the funding and that sort of thing is coming from. And so this project is funded through a grant from Pennsylvania's Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR. And the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure for the city of Pittsburgh is leading that project. But we work very closely also with the Department of Public Works, who actually manages and maintains the trail surfaces. So they're a big element of this as well. And the project is being spearheaded by the consultant group, which is being led by Evolve Environment Architecture. And then they have a talented group of sub-consultants working for them. So among those are Damon Weiss and Barton Kirk of Ethos Collaborative, who will be doing the engineering, Tim Nuttall of Oikos Ecology, who specializes in ecological restoration and planning, and then Emily and Matt Mercurio of Civic Mapper, who are doing a lot of the data and mapping work. But in addition to that talented group of consultants, there is also the city, two of the biggest partners with the city as far as riverfront work and river development, Friends of the Riverfront and River Life. And I know Courtney is on this call. Hi, Courtney. So that's sort of the core stakeholder group, and that's kind of the steering committee. But then the larger stakeholder group involves, as I mentioned, DOMI, Department of Public Works, Department of City Planning, Friends of the Riverfront, River Life, DCNR, the SEA, the SPC, Tree Pittsburgh, the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, and possibly some more, depending on as we get a little bit further into the process, we may realize we need to bring in some other additional stakeholders as well, because as we peel back the layers of this onion, we're discovering new things every day. And so the plan, as I mentioned before, will cover a lot of different things. So the idea is to identify some best practices for trail maintenance and management, assess the ecological existing conditions. So tree canopy, invasive species, various different other ecological maintenance and ecological assessments. And that also calls upon a study that was done prior to this by the Army Corps of Engineers as far as riverfront stability and that sort of thing. So it will also outline surface maintenance and repaving schemes, segment prioritization methodology, and then some priorities of areas where maintenance and interventions are needed most over the short and long terms. And those projects or priority areas will be laid out by time range, as well as various other things. The key among those, I would say, is developing a trail maintenance and responsibility matrix. And so that will really make things a lot easier as far as when elements of the trail network are in need of repair, being able to look at a resource and figure out which partner is responsible for that or which group should be doing the work and the funding and that sort of thing. So this is a big complex puzzle that we're trying to piece together, and that output will ultimately be a very helpful element in that. So we'll also be doing a little bit of public engagement as well. Largely, this project is going to be working with key stakeholders along the trail network, so property owners and development partners, that sort of thing. But there will be some public engagement around that as well. And so far, we've had the kickoff meeting in January, and the consultant is currently in the process of data collection and analysis due to the timing of this project, because we got to start sort of in the winter. Data collection is going to be going through the winter and then into and through the spring, so that they can collect ecological data, both with the leaves and without the leaves on the trees, to make sure that we're getting a full and complete picture of the ecological conditions, as well as the trail surface conditions and other elements of it. And then through the summer and the fall, plan development will continue with a delivery of a draft plan sometime in late summer, early fall, ultimately with a final plan delivery later this fall. And actually, I think that's my last slide. Sorry, that was a little quick. Does anyone have any questions for me? Looking the chat here.
That's everyone's mic. Whoa.
Very fun echo on the mic. As you say, this is part of the transportation network. Can you reaffirm the commitment to keep the trail or reasonable detour open during nearby construction projects required as part of project MPTs? For example, there will soon be a construction project just west of the casino. Will the trail remain open during the construction? I recall that the casino construction was a major failure in this regard, as have been other projects. So with regard, because right now it's kind of piecemeal, and there's no clear.
You dropped out in the middle of the first sentence.
I did. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you again, but there was about a 5-second dropout during the critical part of the first sentence.
Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, that is essentially why we're developing this plan, because as of now, it's just kind of piecemeal as these projects come in. It's a matter of, if the right parties are informed and as to, what the procedure is for setting up an MPT or maintaining trail access during construction projects along there. So that's going to be an element of the deliverable, I would say, is sort of procedures for when maintenance is going on. What are these sorts of steps that need to be taken so that there's very clear and well outlined procedures for when maintenance is going on, who's responsible and what steps need to be taken, that sort of thing. So I can't guarantee anything in particular, but I will say that that is something that is essentially a big part of why we're doing this, is to maintain sort of, make sure that the trails continue to be usable and that they are, that there's a clear order of operations and a clear steps to be taken when certain things are done. And then I see Mary has another. Oh, sorry. Follow up.
Does the standard process for processing MPTs include a checkoff that says, is there a trail nearby? And if so, does the MPT include keeping it open?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I know that our permitting group recently redeveloped and is in the process of going through comments with some of our bike partners and other things.
Okay, please convey that comment to them.
I will. Yes. Yeah, I will. So just that will be coming out eventually. But right now it's still in development as far as the new guidance around MPTs for developers and others doing work on the city streets. And I will also keep that on their radar that should also be applied to trails when that happens. Then I see Mary has another question here. Does maintenance include clearing snow, assuming Pittsburgh ever gets snow again? Yes, maintenance includes anything that needs to be done on the trail. So if that's a light bulb that goes out on one of the poles, the light poles nearby, anything that pertains to the area on the trail and around the trail. So if the bushes are overgrowing onto the trail, who gets called to come and trim those? If there needs to be snow cleared, who does the snow clearance? And when is it scheduled to do it? Is it, so this is all there's a lot of different moving parts involved in this, but yeah, the snow clearing and other various maintenance things are a big element of this, and are arguably probably the main reason we're doing this, is to make sure that that all of these things are set up appropriately. And yes, this there is an Engage page for this, and I am in the process of updating it to include the slides from the first from the kickoff meeting, and we'll be keeping the page updated as we move through the planning process. Let me find that URL and drop that in the chat for you all. Does anyone else have any questions?
This is Courtney from Friends. I just want to say we're really excited to be working with the city on this project. I think it's still a long time coming. So great work to Kevin and his team for doing this.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited to work with everybody and to get it going here, and to continue doing that, so that we have this great resource continues to be usable for everyone, and continues to grow and build the regional active transportation network. Let me pull up that Engage page for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll ask a question, Kevin. Ultimately, like after this plan's in place, will this sort of be housed still in DOMI, or will it be in DPW? Like, who's going to be the main? I don't know if I missed that part of the presentation.
Yeah, so DOMI is kind of leading this. I'm not 100% sure if it will live with DOMI ultimately when it's finalized, or if it will be housed within DPW. My guess would be that we will probably maintain lead role on it. But DPW does do the bulk of the actual maintenance work on the trails. So they will certainly be a very key component of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, that's what that got to what I was wondering. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I put the link to the Engage page in the chat. And so, sorry for my brief remarks. We're still in the early stages of this, so there's not a ton to show so far. But we're really excited to get further along in this process, and to be thank you. Sorry, there's another meeting going on in here right now. But yeah, we're really excited to complete the project here, and we'll get the plan out to everybody. And feel free to keep up with the Engage page as we move through the process. Thank you. Thank you. I will add that. I will add a comment section into the Engage page. Thanks for that note, Mary. Thank you. 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 I see Julia there at the table. Are there? I think I was the last presenter, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm right. I'm not hearing
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'd like to thank you for presenting, Kevin, and apologize for the technical difficulties we're having here at STC. This is, as I said, our meeting, our hybrid practice meeting. So you have a copy of an agenda in advance. I don't have that ability to share that right now, but the next thing on the agenda are just some upcoming activities that we wanted to share about, which most of you probably know about. So I won't go into any great detail. But Eric, or if you would like to share on the LCI seminar, if there are any openings or any other announcements that you would like to make on behalf of Bike Pittsburgh right now, that would be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, we are hosting a league certified instructor training coming up. It is unfortunately full. We have 11 participants, and you know, there may be a chance to squeeze someone else in if someone really wants to. But you know, you can contact me, and I can connect you to the person within our organization who's making that happen. But with that said, we also have several trainings that were just scheduled. They're not posted online yet, so you're hearing it here first. In cooperation with the University of Pittsburgh's Pitt Bike Cave, we have 4 trainings coming up called Confident City Cycling. There's one in May, June, July, and August, basically the first week of each month coming up, 3-hour training to get people more comfortable riding on the streets. Again, we'll have that published on our website soon, but the dates were just finalized. And then the only other thing I'll add right now is there was a big announcement yesterday from the mayor, from Mayor Gainey, to announce that, or to commit Pittsburgh to eliminating traffic fatalities and serious injuries in the city, also known as Vision Zero. So there's a big press conference yesterday where he made the announcement, and today Councilwoman Barb Warwick is introducing, or has introduced, I guess at this point, a resolution to formally commit Pittsburgh to zero traffic fatality, to working towards zero traffic fatalities, as well as some initial first steps to get there, like creating a task force and figuring out how to get funding in place, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty big policy shift for the city, coming up. So keep your eyes peeled on that. There's been several articles published today and yesterday about it. And our website will also have a bunch of updates, as well as the city's Engage page. So yeah, I'll end there.
All right. Thanks for sharing on that, Eric. Sounds like the Engage page is the place to be. That's exciting news. Other things on the agenda under announcements that I'd like to touch on, like I said, I'm not sharing that screen, but Celebrate Trails Day, most of you know, is April 27th, always the 4th Saturday in April. That will be the date of our first Yellow Goat bike ride, which Rich shared earlier. We'll be on that ride. We'll be leading that one for us. And then I had a ride schedule prepared to share, and I'm not able to share that right now, but I'm going to put a link in the chat box. That ride schedule will be posted on our Active Transportation Resource Center. And then prior to each ride, we send out a more detailed specific ride info. The ride schedule is just a date, the trail, and the meetup town. But like I said, we'll add details and share that before each ride. Other things on the announcements, the bicycle friendly community application deadline is coming up. It's June 5th. If your community is interested in applying for that designation through the League of American Bicyclists, STC staff were available to assist with some application development efforts. So please reach out if you are. And then the statewide Active Transportation Summit is coming up on June 26th in York. And Sam, if you're on and would like to expand on that, that would be great.
Sure. Thanks, Leanne. If people, I think I mentioned actually at the last quarterly meeting, but we do have more stuff evolving here. I'll put a link in the chat. We have some information on the Pennsylvania Downtown Center website. As Leanne said, this will be primarily focused on that day, Wednesday, June 26th. It will be in York, PA, but it is a statewide summit. People are invited to come from, certainly from the SPC region and anywhere else in the Commonwealth. If you are coming that far, you may want to spend the night, if you do so, we do have the event is happening at the Yorktown Hotel downtown and in the York College Community Engagement Center just across the street. So we do have lodging and stuff like that available. In addition, we are doing, if you do come in the night before, we are doing a adaptive cycling expo in the plaza in front of the York Revolution Ballpark. That will be Tuesday afternoon, the 25th, from 4 to 6:30, and that will be just preceding a home ball game that starts at 6:30. So the expo will just be to check things out, to see them. It will not necessarily be a test ride opportunity, but that does sort of give you an idea of what's shaping up. Also, we have our keynote. Our keynote will be Anna Ziebart, who is one of the originators of the Week Without Driving national campaign to get people to step into other people's shoes from a transportation standpoint. She is a disability mobility activist from Washington State who herself has vision impairments that prevent her from driving, but not from biking. And so she bikes, walks, uses transit, and advocates for freedom of mobility for all. If you want more information, you can email me at pawalkworks@padowntown.org.
All right. Thanks for the additional information on that, Sam. I do know Julia and I are planning to attend the summit and may be able to stop by the Adaptive Cycle Expo as well. And so that's all great. Anthony was able to share the screen on our Yellow Goat Staff Bike Club. That was just up there for those who don't know what GOAT stands for. It's going out, and we're happy to say it. We're still going out, Pat. And I already shared about when the first trail day is. And the next slide shows the ride schedule for the year. I'm looking over the announcements. Is there anything that anyone would like to elaborate that's under there that we haven't? And if not, then move on to, does anyone have a roundtable update to share? You're welcome to do that now.
Hi, Leanne.
Hi.
It's Chris Ziegler, Armstrong Trails. As Rich alluded to earlier, we're having a party on April 1st to celebrate 10 additional miles of trail. I'm going to put the link to the event in the chat. We are having some refreshments, so we're asking people to register. We're out here today on the trail. I'm not sure if you can see we're along the river. So 10 miles from Crooked Creek, which is Roston, south of Ford City, to the Kiski River, including the Kiski Bridge, is open for trail use. Today, we're finishing rolling for the last time, so it'll be open to bicycles by the weekend. And then we have an additional 4 miles to finish here over the next few weeks. Today, so we hope everybody comes out and joins us. Today.
All right, great. And we can see that view. That looks awesome. I do know I'll be attending that. And I believe we'll be taking a ride on that trail later in the year as the Yellow Goat Ride, but also on April 1st. I think we have a few staff members planning to ride too.
Awesome. We'll see you then.
All right. Thanks, Chris. All right. Anything else to share under roundtable updates?
Hi, Leanne. This is Courtney from Friends of Riverfront. I do have a few dates for things coming up, and I'll drop some of the links in the chat. For the Turtle Creek Connector study design engineering process that's going on right now, we do have 2 public meetings coming up on March 12th and 14th. I'll drop the link to the locations for those, but one will be in Wilmerding and one will be in Braddock. And then on April 11th, we haven't started publicly sharing it yet, but I want to give everyone a heads up. We are going to be hosting a public meeting for the VOP Trail Connector. That's the Verona, Oakmont, Penn Hills, and Plum. That one will be held in Plum Borough in the evening. And then the last thing on Celebrate Trails Day, our trail development team will be doing kind of like a ride with our trail development team for the Three Rivers Heritage Trail on the April 27th and 11th, starting in Millville. So we'll share that in the chat as well for those who want to join us. And that's it for us.
All right, great. Thanks for sharing those updates. And I'll look for those meeting dates in the chat. And I'm hoping to attend that BOP meeting. All right. Anything else under roundtable updates or for the good of the org?
Yes, I have a conference coming up. This is John Farrick with Penn State Extension, and I'm putting a link into the chat. There's an intergenerational conference coming up in July. If you take a look at that link, and also we have our land use decision making webinar series that's still ongoing. I'll put a link into that. Often those sessions very much relate to multi-transportation plans. So watch for those two links in the chat and encourage you to explore them and attend.
And also, Leanne, this is Sam Pearson again. I have a separate announcement. I believe I also may have mentioned we're doing what we're calling Balance Bike Boot Camp. We are helping to train people, whether they are already cycling instructors but familiar with working with older people, teens and up, or whether they are people involved in early childhood education or care, childcare, daycare, summer camps, teachers, etc. We're trying to get, or if they're involved in healthcare, injury prevention and physical activity promotion, we're trying to get more adults familiar with what's involved in getting kids on bikes using balance bikes. And so this month we're doing a big training out in Philadelphia as part of the Philly Bike Expo. Some people from Pittsburgh are coming, which I'm very pleased with. And then we will be doing a variety of events that will give people who come to the expo and participate in that training an opportunity to also sort of see what this looks like in different locations around the state. So the Philly Bike Expo is a really big event. We'll probably have, 150 kids or so over the course of the weekend. We can also, we're scheduled to be at some schools later in this year in North Philly. I will be in the SBC region doing a small bike rodeo in Delmont in mid-June. If people wanted to come help out with that, that might be more accessible for people in the region. That would be June 15th, a Saturday, sort of roughly in the middle of the day. I'll put info just about it has info and a whole bunch of links about the current push for the Philly Bike Expo, but you can also, if you're interested, get plugged in for future events in different parts of the state.
All right, great. Thanks, Sam. And when did you say the Philly Bike Expo was? You're going to put that in the chat.
Sure. It's the expo itself is Saturday and Sunday, March 16th and 17th in the Philadelphia Convention Center.
All right, great. Thanks. All right. Anything else? All right. Hearing no further comments, we'll go ahead and get ready to adjourn the meeting. But I'd like to say that we do hope to have these technological issues worked out and begin returning to in-person meetings for the forum starting in June, still offering a virtual option. So thank you all for your time today. And thank you to all our presenters. And hope to see you in person in June. Thank you.